Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Traptrix Yugioh deck profile for July 2022. I've been playing the Traptrix deck more and actually used it a couple times at locals, so wanted to update the actual deck profile I had on the channel. It's been over a year since the last update. We got the latest support for this deck from the Lightning Overdrive booster set, so we had some fairly recent support for the deck as a whole, but it's a really fun control deck that focuses on the different Xyz and Link monsters that you can summon out using the many different Traptrix monsters with the overall high trap count, also to basically shut down your opponent from being able to make any plays against you with your heavy back row and use of the different Traptrix effects whenever you activate a hold trap or just a normal trap in general. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. For the Traptrix monsters, I run 3 Traptrix Myrmilio. This is probably one of the best Traptrix monsters for its versatility, whether it's normal summoned or special summoned. When it is normal summon, you can add 1 whole normal trap from your deck to your hand, and if this card is special summon, you can target 1 spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy that target. So you have both these options available to you, with it being a great start off card, being able to search out any of the whole traps we have in the lineup for the deck. But even if you were to special summon it off of a Traptrix monster effect, you can then get that additional destruction of your opponent's back row or even their field spell setup. For the other 3 of that I run in the deck, I also run 3 Traptrix Mantis. With this card, when it's normal summon, you can add 1 Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand. It's unaffected by the effects of whole normal traps, just like Myrmilio. And once per turn, quick effect, you can target 1 set spell or trap you control, return that target to the hand, then you can set 1 spell or trap from your hand. So this gives you options to rotate out. Let's say you have a pretty heavy filled back row, some of the other unnecessary cards you may have to use against your opponent and set up something better by the next turn. That card will be viable to activate. And also just being able to add another Traptrix monster lets you search out some of your lower count Traptrix monsters that we run in the deck for you to better use. For some of those lower numbers for the Traptrix, I also run 2 Traptrix Dionea. This card's unaffected by the effect of hold normal trap cards, and when this card is normal summon, you can target 1 Traptrix monster in your graveyard, special summon that target in defense, and when this card is special summon, you can target 1 hold normal trap in your graveyard, set that target, but banish it during the end phase of your next turn. And if this is still on the field, and you can only use the effects of Dionea once per turn. So this is another option to special summon out Myrmilio after you use Myrmilio, if you special summon out Dionea, giving you 2 level 4 monsters on the field to even overlay into one of the rank 4 Xyz Traptrix monsters, but also just being able to recycle your whole traps from the graveyard is another added bonus of Dionea. Only 2 though. Early game it really doesn't do much since you have to have that other Traptrix monster set up in the graveyard for you to special summon. So it's one you definitely want to search out or use using your other Traptrix monsters. And for the last of the Traptrix monsters, just 1 Traptrix Vesiculo. It's unaffected by hold normal traps, just like the other Traptrix. You can only use 1 of the following effects of Vesiculo per turn, and only once that turn. You can send 1 set trap you control to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand, or if you control no cards in your spell and trap card zone, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target 1 whole normal trap in your graveyard and set it to your field. Another special summon option, especially if you can add this card from your deck to your hand with your Traptrix Mantis, giving you another option for a special summon with your Vesiculo. You really only need 1 of this card for the entire playstyle. Opening up multiple of this card just gives you a dead card in hand, since you can only use 1 Vesiculo effect per turn and only once that turn. So you don't really want to see it in your hand too often. You want to be able to search it off of your other Traptrix effects, which aside from the main deck monsters, you have plenty of other Traptrix in the extra deck to make use of. For some of the non-Traptrix monsters that I run in the deck, I also run 3 Parallel Exceed. For the additional special summon, you're not limited to what you need to summon out your rank 4 Traptrix monsters. So Rafflesia and also Allomeris both need just 2 level 4 monsters, which when you special summon out a Link monster, which can easily be done with your Traptrix Sarah, you can special summon Parallel Exceed to the field and then get another Parallel Exceed from your main deck to the field, giving you 2 level 4 monsters since they become level 4 when special summon. Then you can overlay the 2 into your Traptrix Exceed monster, giving you that additional monster to use along with your Link monster. And then for the rest of the main deck monsters, I just run 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Once again, shutting down your opponent's hand. The biggest weakness of this deck is not going first, because you want to get those traps set up to use against your opponent. So if you go second, you at least need some turn 1 disruption for your opponent. So having 3 Ash Blossom as my hand trap of choice is definitely the way to go for stopping their search or graveyard setup. And that is it for the monsters. Moving on to the spells. The only spell I run in the deck is the one double or nothing. We do run the Utopia package in the extra deck. So having a search card for your Utopia double when you can go for the finishing attack play against your opponent is always necessary. The one card I considered running was Pot of Prosperity. Having a card where you could select specific ones from your extra deck to get more of a top of the deck search could be utilized. You could reduce some of your trap lineup for Pot of Prosperity, but with that card hopefully being right around the corner in the Megaton, I'll wait till then if I do decide to make an update to the deck, adding that card in as an additional search option. But if you want to run Pot of Prosperity, you can always just take out some of the higher number trap count that I run. And now moving on to the trap lineup, which is the good majority of the deck as a whole. For the hole traps, I run 2 Floodgate Trap Hole. A very useful card. Only running 2, though. It can be searched off of Traptrix Myrmilio and then recycled with some of the other cards that I run in the deck, whether it be Dionea or some of the extra deck monsters, or even utilized with cards like Rafflesia from the main deck to the graveyard to count as its card effect. Flipping an opponent's monster before they even go for the Link Summon can shut them down, because then they can't even flip up that monster. So you can leave that monster be unless your opponent has a means to use it, let's say like for a fusion summon on the field, with the last hole trap that I run in the deck being 2 Gravediggers Trap Hole. When your opponent activates a monster effect in their hand or graveyard, when your opponent banish monster effect is activated, negate its effect, and if you do, inflict 2,000 damage to your opponent. So during a time scenario, this can even be the burn damage needed for you to win against your opponent. Being able to stop cards like Ash Blossom or anything that would resolve when they're banished can even stop part of the Brave package. Once again, just 2 though. Having too many of these cards can definitely hinder your plays, but once again, searchable, just like your Floodgate Trap Hole. For more setup, especially going first, I run 3 Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine. This card can be activated if you have no other traps in your graveyard the turn you set it. So it works very, very well with your Traptrix Sarah, which I'll go over the combo at the end of the video. Being able just to activate that trap much more quickly. Once again, an added bonus for your plays. So you definitely want to run 3 of this card. Also being a level 4 trap makes it another viable source for you to Xyz into your rank 4 Xyz plays. For more of the 3 ofs, I run 3 Torrential Tribute. Once again, destruction for your opponent's cards is always vital, because you can come back with just 1 card in this deck, being able to again go into your Traptrix Link monster or set up any of your Traptrix play, depending on what monster you opened up. So just being able to wipe out your opponent's field with this card is always a bonus, especially since it doesn't target. And 3 Infinite Impermanence, along with the fact that it is a normal trap, working well with Sarah if it was already preset on the field, and also being able to stop your opponent if they do go first. Having this and Ash Blossom as just an added option for the going second plays always is good to fall back on. With more of the 3 ofs being 3 Compulsory Evacuation Device, just sending an opponent's monster back to the extra deck can get around some of the branded lineup, or just some of those extra deck monsters that benefit when they're destroyed and sent to the graveyard. For some more lower numbers for the traps, I also run 2 Ice Dragon's Prison. Target 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field, but its effects are negated. Then you can banish 1 monster from both players' fields that have the same type as each other. You go and activate 1 Ice Dragon's Prison per turn. A more specific kind of play, but does utilize the use of multiple types that your opponent may have for the different monsters they use. Being able to at least have that monster summoned to your field and then taken out by taking out another card from your opponent's field and also emptying out their graveyard. And for more protection, I also run 3 Solemn Strike for stopping monsters before they even hit the field, or monster effects as a good first turn setup. And with the heavy use of back row in the deck as well, I run 3 Solemn Judgment, just being able to have this as an extra protection. If your opponent were to try and Harpy Feather Duster or Twin Twister, it can take out a good number of the back row, so you at least want an option to stop that play. At the cost of your life points, you really don't use much for life points in this deck. You need an answer just to prevent your entire back row and your main means of defense from being taken away. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. I run 3 Traptrix Sarah, one of your go-to cards in the deck just for its playstyle, being able to initiate a lot of your plays. It has been announced for a reprint as well, so with people looking to build this deck, it'll be more readily available. Just needing 1 non-link Traptrix monster. This link summon is unaffected by trap effects. You can use each of the following effects of Sarah once per turn, and during the damage step, except during the damage step, with this card, if a normal trap card is activated, you can special summon 1 Traptrix monster from your deck with a different name than that monster you control. And if your other Traptrix monster effect is activated, you can set one whole normal trap directly from your deck. So with this card, you have the play set up with Shade Brigadine to activate the trap, utilizing the effect when a trap is activated to special summon one Traptrix monster from your deck, and then activating that Traptrix monster effect will let you set a whole normal trap, giving you 2 searches off of this card for just activating one trap. And this can also be, like I said, utilized during your opponent's turn, giving you more of a search and setup option. I also run 2 of the newest Link monster for the deck, which is Traptrix Yugioh, a Link 2 monster that just needs 2 insect and or plant monsters. This Link summon is unaffected by trap effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Yugioh once per turn. After you activate a whole normal trap card, you can set it instead of sending it to the graveyard. And during your end phase, you can target one Traptrix monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. This gives you more of a monster resource on the field to make use of, along with the fact that you can just recycle your different whole traps that we run in the deck back onto the field to reuse again. Keeps your opponent from being able to activate hand traps or just even get a monster succession started if they just need that normal summon for the play, reactivating and setting that trap again. And then for the rest of the Link monsters, with the additional special summon of Yugioh, I just run the 1 access code talker with the banish option for the use of your Link monsters. It can hit for a pretty big powerhouse play to use for banishing your Link 2 or Sarah. You don't really need multiple copies of those cards in the graveyard, so just being able to banish one for the option of access codes, always nice. For the Xyz plays, I run 1 Traptrix Yugioh and 1 Almaris. Almaris is good for the special summon of a level 4 insect or plant monster from your graveyard. And if an opponent's monster on the field, it leaves the field because of a card effect and is now in the graveyard or banished except during the damage step, you can detach one material from this card to target one of those cards and special summon it to your field. Another way to get resources and just needing 2 level 4 monsters for each of these. Like I said earlier, with Yugioh being able to use the whole traps by detaching one from this card, by sending them from your deck to the graveyard as a faster way to access those traps. For more of the rank 4 monsters, which I would say is one of the easiest means to special summon out in this deck, I run 1 Time Thief Redoer with the option of being able to use Shade Brigadine for the trap to overlay into this card. You get the added effect of being able to use the monster and trap effect for both of the detaches. For the Utopia engine, I run the 1 Utopia double for the double or nothing search, and then being able to go into Utopia for the double damage negation and then a double attack damage, and then the 1 Utopia the Lightning for more of an onslaught attack play against your opponent. For more of the generic Xyz monsters, I also run 1 Abyss Dweller for graveyard shutdown, Baguska for field shutdown, and the 1 Zeus for when you attack with your Xyz monster to at least have something that could potentially wipe the field also. And then as for the go-to plays in the deck, just having the 1 Myrmilio and the Shade Brigadine can hit you with a pretty good field setup. You can normal summon the Myrmilio, getting the search for the whole trap of choice. If your opponent Ash Blossoms this or effect failures it, you still have an additional play to go into. You can, if this is added, that's just a bonus there. But if then you'll go for the Link play, if your opponent does negate the effect, to go into your Traptrix Sarah, you can then set the Shade Brigadine. Since you don't have any traps in your graveyard, you can activate this turn as well. Activating the Traptrix Sarah, when a normal trap is activated, to special summon a Traptrix monster from your deck with a different name than the cards you control. You can then go for the Traptrix Mantis play for that setup, or even being able to, if your opponent has a spell or trap on the field, for that special summon to special summon a Myrmilio and destroy that play from your deck. You also then, with these 2 monsters, have your play of either using the Mantis for the special summon option of its second effect to bounce a card on the field you may have for another one in your hand by leaving it on the field, or using it with the level 4 Shade Brigadine to overlay into a rank 4 Xyz play of choice, going into Almaris or Rafflesia, which Rafflesia can be used to protect your Sarah on the field by making it so they can't be destroyed by battle or card effects except for Rafflesia while it's on the field, meaning your opponent can attack into the Sarah but not destroy it. And then also having the detach to use for some of the other hole traps if your opponent did negate it by sending them to the graveyard from the deck. If you have the parallel Exceed play with this one instead of the Shade Brigadine, you can go for the Link 1 play and still have the Exceed to reveal in your hand to special summon after you go for the Link 1 play, overlaying the 2 of the level 4 Exceeds that you would special summon for the exact same play that I mentioned. Just needing 2 level 4 monsters for the options and being able to have them be unaffected by trap effects while they have Exceeds material. And then it all comes down to your back row use as well. If you do have the setup for your Traptrix monster when special summoned off of the activation of your Shade Brigadine, you can at least then also activate Traptrix Sarah to set an additional whole normal trap from your deck for that play, giving you not only the one you searched off of the Myrmilio, but the one you searched off of the Sarah, having 2 shutdowns right then and there for that search. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. Like I said, Traptrix were one of my favorite. I'm glad I started playing them again, and with the deck being more readily available with the release of some more Traptrix cards, it'll definitely make it more of a scene deck to play, since Sarah is definitely needed for its setup. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.